Guild Wars 2 has cemented itself as one of the best MMOs out there. It has stood the tests of time and held its position alongside other strong, successful MMOs, even though it is very different from its competition. So in this video, I'd like to highlight what I think are the top 5 best things about Guild Wars 2. The things that make it stand out in the MMO genre and keep it going strong for the many years it's been alive. The first one has to be the horizontal progression model. Instead of gaining more power with every content release, the game presents you with more options to play differently. We have many elite specs for the classes that offer different playstyles and can fill different roles. One elite spec is not necessarily more powerful than another. Instead, they will have different strengths that may give them an advantage over another in a specific area, which helps keep all elite specs relevant and viable in some way all the time. One of the best parts about this horizontal progression model is the gear system and the lack of an endless gear grind. Let me explain further. In Guild Wars 2, gear is separated into different rarity levels: basic, fine, masterwork, rare, exotic, ascended, and legendary. Each tier has a range of attribute points they can have, and as you go higher in the tiers, the higher the attribute point values can be, with the exception of the final two, ascended and legendary. There is no increase in attribute points between those two. The only difference is convenience. Legendary allows you to respec the attributes and upgrades at any time for free. So once you get ascended level gear, that's it for your gear score. You will never need to improve your gear further than that. Over all the years Guild Wars 2 has been alive, they have never changed this system. And to make things even better, most of the game's content is achievable with exotic level gear. So technically, you don't even need to max out your gear to still be able to do everything in the game. This gear system will allow players to play their own way at their own pace, as much as they want or as little as they want, and their gear will still be relevant and up to date. Even if you were to take a year break from Guild Wars 2, when you return, your gear will still be up to date. That is something you do not see in other MMOs. Other MMOs will often have the player continue to push power levels higher or improve their gear further. If you were to take a break, upon your return, you have to grind to catch up in order to continue with the latest content. But in Guild Wars 2, you don't have to. With the horizontal progression they have developed, you will always be ready to play whenever you want and with whatever content you want. Next, I want to bring attention to the world of Guild Wars 2 because I think that's one of the best parts about it as well. The world actually feels alive. When you look at any MMO world, sure, you could make the argument that it comes alive. There are cities, villages, civilians, heroes, and villains. There's a narrative story that guides you through the world. However, if you were to take a character and go for a walk through a random area of the world, you wouldn't see very much. You'd find open areas with NPCs and enemy mobs kinda just standing around waiting for nothing. But this is where Guild Wars 2 is different. There are still those open areas with NPCs and mobs, but they are actually interacting with each other with or without the players. This is called the dynamic event system. Instead of player-driven quests, Guild Wars 2 has events that are actively happening in the game world. Many of them are also chain events that will play out a storyline. Depending on the success of one event or its failure, that will influence which event comes up next. If there is a town under attack by bandits, you can go to that town and see it actually under attack. You could choose to help or stand idly by and do nothing. The town will be taken over. Then you might find a follow-up event to rally the townspeople to reclaim the town. And this is just one simple example. These events are everywhere, always happening, with or without you. This really helps the world feel like it's alive. It feels like there's importance to every part of the world. And then there are meta events that has players follow along a storyline of an entire map, often requiring masses of players to come together to complete it. From the very first beginner areas all the way to the end game, you will still see these events, which makes the open world of Guild Wars 2 one of its strongest selling features. Next on the list, I would say, is the combat system. The Guild Wars 2 combat system really feels unique in the MMO space. It seems that most games will either go for a traditional tab targeting system or some kind of action combat system. Each of those systems have their benefits and can be fun depending on the implementation. However, what Guild Wars 2 has going on seems to be a combination of the two. The combat system takes the traditional tab targeting system but combines it with elements seen in the action combat systems. Things like dodge rolling, blocking, comboing skills, weapon swapping. You will still have skill rotations like other games have you do, but combat is designed to encourage active play. Almost all builds in combat encounters will have you actively engaging, doing something in order to make your build work. It's rare to find an instance that you can just stand still with your hands off the keyboard and have your character auto-complete everything. And as you get more skilled with the game, the potential to have combat be even more engaging and involved only goes further. I would not be able to make a best things video for Guild Wars 2 without acknowledging the community, because the community itself is one of the best things. The Guild Wars 2 community is often regarded as one of the most supportive and friendly in all MMOs. Maybe not just MMOs, maybe even games in general. All over the game, you will find players that are actually willing to help others. For example, as a low-level player, you'll notice occasionally high-level players stop by events to help out. In chat, you will see people actually answer questions with real answers and not the usual toxic gatekeeping you might see in other MMOs. It's normal to find groups for endgame content that will actually take the time to explain mechanics and fights to those who have never done it before. Since Guild Wars 2 is generally a very accessible game from a variety of skill levels, it seems to cultivate players that are a lot more laid back or relaxed. Instead of taking things super seriously and lording over others, the majority of the community has adopted this friendly and inviting attitude, which really helps the game thrive. The more positive interactions you have in an MMO, the better, since a major part of these games is having other people around and interacting with them. For my last point, I want to say that it's so great that Guild Wars 2 has so many ways to play the game. Different game modes, PvE, PvP, world vs. world, each with their own communities. Within those game modes, there are even different ways to play. PvE can be broken down into open world, fractals, raids. You can play grouped or completely solo. PvP can have you push to the top of ranks, join tournaments, or just stay casual. World vs. World is a huge open world PvP zone. You can play with huge armies of players sieging castles, or stay solo and take down small support objectives. There really is so many ways to play this game. No right or wrong. Whatever playstyle you usually follow, you'll find something in Guild Wars 2 that matches you. Now I know I said the 5 best things about Guild Wars 2, but I've got a bonus one for you here at the end, and that's the super cool extensive fashion system. Everyone knows the real endgame of Fashion Wars 2 is fashion, and it shows. Just walk around any of the major cities and go check some people out and see what they're wearing. Everyone has these really cool custom outfits that they've designed for their characters. The endless variety of weapon and armor skins lets you create a completely customized look that could be one of a kind for yourself. Still to this day, I constantly see players that make me stop and check them out and see what they're wearing. So if you're into fashion, you need to get into Guild Wars 2. So there we have it, my top 5 best things about Guild Wars 2. It was just a quick summary of each of those things because I'm sure we could deep dive every point a lot further, but I'll ask you now, what are your top 5 things about Guild Wars 2? Do you agree with mine, or would you pick some different things? Let me know. I'd be interested to hear. But that'll be a wrap on this video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe or become a channel member if you want to go the extra distance. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.